Hello everyone, Kevin from K-Tech Services, back again for another educational digitizing video. This last one will be under complex satin stitches. I know this was kind of a little series I was doing on explaining the difference of the tools when it comes to satin stitches. So, column one, column two, single line input, and now complex satin. Okay, and we got our worksheet up here, the Working with Design Shop version 12 professional. Okay, whoops. And let's see here, and let me just pop up here. Now, so as long as you have the level editor, vector, or professional, you should be able to do this video. Well, actually, maybe not editor, come to think of it. I mean, you might have to have vector or professional, just to be sure. Okay. Um, so as I was kind of showing the difference of the tools here, um, obviously column one, column two, single line input, and the last one here is pretty much complex satin. So obviously, as you watch the other videos, how those tools work, this is just another way. I love the complex fill today because it's controllable. You can adjust it on the fly, and where before it used to be just for fills only, but now you can actually change it to a satin. So I'm just going to go ahead on this one here. Oh, real quick, under tools and options, I do under my preferences have my icons set to large. I have my auto scroll set to 7. I am working with the full screen crosshairs. I prefer that one, my old Digitrack days. So obviously, you can have it set up like this, or you can have it set up the way you like it. But I just wanted to show you what my preferences are set to. Okay, so let's get started here. So I'm going ahead and click on my complex tool. I can just left click. It doesn't matter how many nodes I do. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to outline this eye, let's say. And of course, obviously in this trick here, I don't need to touch this. I don't need to go close it like on the other tools. In complex, if I hit enter, it will close to the next last node, okay, automatically. So there's my graphic. Okay, at the bottom, always pay attention to the bottom. It's asking me, do I want to make a hole? Well, I don't. Enter on the keyboard, and now it's asking for a entry point. I want to start there and I want to end here. Then it's asking me for a 2-point directional line. Doesn't really matter. Just I want to make a line stitch like that. Actually, I'm going to undo that for a minute. I'm going to do that again, and then I'm just going to draw an imaginary line. I want it perfectly 90, let go. Okay, it's done. But now it's a fill stitch. Okay, so we could tell that. Even though if I go up here and change to a satin, well, okay, it did change it to satin. So that's one trick to do it, or you can double click inside the properties and make sure that you switch it to satin. Now, if it is a fill by chance, then this feature is turned on, and then you just need to make sure you turn off the 80 and make sure you put that to 0. That'll turn it the fill automatic fill feature because it's measuring, just so you know, that's actually measuring 80 points. By default, it's set to 80 points in version 12. And then if it's more than that, it'll turn into a fill stitch automatically. If you don't want that, then, for this example, we don't want that. We just, a 0 disables the feature. Okay. So now that's a sat stitch. So if you watch the version column 1 and column 2, how we drew the stitches, they're just different tools to do the same thing. But to be honest, I call it complex digitizing is what I kind of nicknamed it, and I just do it that way because it to me it's since it's controllable. I'll just hit complex, and then I'll go ahead and just so you know, on the keyboard, plus sign and minus sign on your keyboard, when you're in the mode, we'll zoom in and zoom out. So I'll do left click, left click, left click, and left click. Again, I don't need to close here. I can enter, and now I have that part. Now it's asking for a hole. Well, in this scenario, we do want a hole, and left click, left click, um, left click, and then left click, and then I can enter. And then now it's asking, do I want another hole? I don't. Enter. Always pay attention to what it tells you at the bottom. Start, end, and then a line direction. Okay, now granted, that's a fill stitch now and stuff like that. We have to do a couple things. So but it's not too much of a big deal. We can come up here to the quick toolbar, click at the satin if we wish. Now the stitches are still one directional. It's not flowing like a square. Now, of course, depending, okay, if you have vector or professional, then okay, you'll have to manually do it you'll have to go to here, the stitch line direction, and actually put in the direction. Actually, you know what? I'm going to undo that for a minute. Okay, so on vector, you have to manually do this, and you just do the corners. Just draw imaginary, a box or in the corners, and voila, there you go. Okay, and but so you have to manually do it. But if you don't have that, if you don't have, let's see, that's for vector people, but the level, I'm sorry. And then if you have professional, you can actually use the nice automatic tool. If you hold down the fly out and then go to this one right here called auto complex, and it automatically will do it for you automatically. And so voila, look at that. Okay, so it's just so cool. Letters, it works really well. Let's do the E real quick here. Let's go ahead and hit complex, and I'll just go ahead and outline this E, all the outside. When you're doing this stuff, always make sure I do the outer. Since this line is awfully thick, you got to choose one or the other. Don't just, you'll sit there forever trying to do it. Oh, see, I didn't like that one. So plus sign, plus sign. So I can zoom in a little bit more. It's because the graphic's so distorted. So I pick on the outside. I usually do the outside. If it's the lines thicker, I'll just always pick one line or the other, inside or outside. And then I don't necessarily need to touch that. I can close it. Everything looks good. I don't really need to do any holes and stuff like that. I'm going to hit enter again. It's asking for a start and an end, and then it's just asking for a directional line. Okay. Now it's always going to do a fill. That's fine. We could change it to a satin pretty easily, or I can go double click inside of here and make sure satin's turned on. Make sure I turn off the automatic feature. I'm always a pet pill about that. Now, of course, the stitches are all, because it's only one directional. Okay. For vector level people, you'll have to turn on the line directional tool and, just, map it out a little bit, just like that. Okay. Well, it doesn't have a splice, so we have to put a splice here. And just kind of draw that line there. It's going to be green. That now the stitch is a little bit more uniform. So you get the idea. You just gotta have to flow. You gotta flow the stitches manually yourself when you're in a vector level. Okay, you can put as how many line directions that you want, but you'll have to manually do it yourself. Okay, now let me just go ahead and undo all this back to where it was, just like that. Okay, and I had to put it in satin. If you had the level professional, you can draw this, hold down it, go to this automatic feature, and it'll automatically do it for you. Okay, that's one little perk about the professional level. Okay, so I like to do my stuff that way. Now, granted, if you watch the other videos, if you don't have professional, then you could do it with the other tools that work a little bit better in that aspect. But if you have professional, this works tremendous for me. And obviously you could do the same thing with just outlining as I showed you with these letters and stuff, and doing the O and doing the line direction and stuff. I just feel the stitches flow better with a complex satin for all for this factor. Okay, so that's it. Guys, I mean, it's a really short, sweet video of kind of doing complex satin with when it comes to a satin stitch aspect and stuff. So if you haven't checked out the other videos, check those out. You'll understand all the tools that are available for satin stitch, and I will be doing a fill one and a running stitch one. Check those out too when they're available, if they're not already available yet. So I thank you for stopping by. I appreciate, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want the next video, and I thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one.